What I really enjoy about making wine here from our 2 estate vineyards is that the vines are just naturally so healthy. So what this means on the winemaking side is that we're not making very many additions. All of our Pinot Noir is native fermented. And then there's natural nitrogen in the fruit, so we don't need to supplement with nutrients during the fermentation. And I find that the fermentation just occurs more steadily and somewhat predictable.
We pick when everybody says they pick, which is the right time for those people. But we do it in a way so we don't have to use our enology degrees so much in the cellar. You know, we make wines of the Santa Rita Hills. They're very detailed, they're very precise, they're very elegant, they're very beautiful, and they're very much not made in the cellar, they're very much made on the land. The Santa Rita Hills is very cold. I mean, it can be uncomfortably cool, and that comes across in the wines.
Over the past 10 years that I've been here, the Chardonnays have gone through this amazing evolution. And the wines that we used to be making are still extremely delicious, but we have really moved the needle.
And for so long, with picking too late or stirring the lees too much or manipulating the wine, you know, a lot of that was done to hide what I think are the real characteristics and the fingerprints that the Santa Rita Hills has on a wine.
We've really just honed in on what is it that we have here at the site and how can we really harness it, and that being, you know, our proximity to the ocean, and what does that give us? And for me, that's this beautiful salinity like we naturally have, but also kind of elevating it just a little bit more, giving the Chardonnays a little more tension with the citrus quality, so like this lemon lime.
That real lively excitement that Chardonnay from a cool climate can have.
I tend to say that the Chardonnays have this salivating quality because it just evokes, you know, the wanting of another sip, and it just naturally pairs so well with creamy dishes and cheeses. And the biggest change, I would say, is that the wines have become more age-worthy. And that means when we release a wine, it tastes delicious now, but it's also going to age for another 10, 15, 20 years. People think of red wines are the perfect wine to age for many, many years, but also so are Chardonnays. And, you know, we're creating wines for our generation now, but also future generations.
So Santa Rita Hills is borderline uncomfortably cool climate. It's very windy and it's constant. You can feel the pressure from the Pacific and from these rocky, deep soils. This is not flat valley bottom. These are hillsides from a landslide that are tricky to walk over. It's, you know, you should see the tractor. You can tell it's a rocky, craggy site. That all contributes to a wine that is constantly in motion. And when you taste these wines, they're generally very precise and they're moving. They don't just go and sit on your palate, and they're not round. They're moving, very much like the Santa Rita Hills weather. It's constantly moving. There's constantly a push from the Pacific.
I absolutely love our Pinot Noirs now. I think that they are a lot more expressive, and there is a little bit like of an exotic quality to some of our wines. The Santa Rita Hills blend, for me, it's like the most complete wine because it has a blend of La Rinconada and Sanford and Benedict. So it's got a little bit of these savory elements. It's got the depth that Sanford and Benedict gives it. The older vines planted in the 90s have this richness without being heavy, and the young vines have a little bit more tannin and strength, but over time they're becoming more evolved.
With Pinot Noir, that translates into spice-driven, you know, much crunchier, really elegant and ephemeral Pinot Noirs that you only get from such a cool, borderline too cold climate.
There is a little bit of like an orange peel quality to it. Some of the higher toned fruits kind of come out.
It can have everything from black tea to red hot
I'd say that with a little bit of whole cluster, I think we're really enhancing and lifting the wines and giving them more layers. And that's what I want when I open a bottle of red wine. I want to go back to another glass so that I can understand what's going on.